Welcome to the Funky Latina podcast, where community, culture, and music collide. I'm your host, Elisa, the Funky Latina. We'll discuss what I'm listening to, events you can't miss, and your new favorite Latin indie artists. Press play and let's get into it. What's up, everybody? I'm Elisa, the Funky Latina, and welcome to the Funky Latina podcast. Oh my God, I missed you guys so much. I'm so sorry that it's been a minute, but your girl has been out here planning Arizona's only Latin indie festival. So first of all, shout out to everybody who was a part of the festival, everybody who attended, all of the talent. Oh my God, I had so much fun. Literally, it went better than I expected. And I didn't have a quinceañera, but I'm pretty sure that's what it feels like because I felt like that girl all freaking night thanks to all of you. I want to talk about the festival more, but I have a really special interview today, so we're going to save that for the next episode and get right into the Funky Latina report, okay? Because lots to talk about today. So we're going to get right into the Funky Latina report because there's so much to talk about. First off, if you're familiar with Sueños Music Festival, it's a Latino reggaeton multi-genre festival in Chicago. And I haven't been, but Sueños, if you're listening, I would love to go. Fly your girl out. And just recently, they announced that Shakira is confirmed. Shakira will be performing a 2-hour set. That's major. There's an incredible lineup. I think Peso Pluma's on there. It's gonna be so fun. It's in Chicago, and so I think she's like the perfect addition to the lineup. So shout out to her. Last week, another diva, Selena, celebrated her 54th birthday, her heavenly birthday, and just want to show her some love because she is a true icon. She is somebody who has influenced me from fashion to music to entrepreneurship. And I also think she's influenced a lot of other Latina creatives across the entire entertainment industry. So just thinking about her, sending her love. And something I always think about is like, oh my gosh, what would it be like if she was still here? Like, this girl would have been the next incredible pop star taking over the music industry. She would have been the one headlining Sueños instead of Shakira. But just sending love to Selena. Happy heavenly birthday. We miss you, we love you, and we'll be dreaming of you. I want to also show more love. Girl, Latinas are running the game. If you have not, stop what you're doing and follow Reggaeton Con La Gata on Instagram because she just started her very own podcast called Reggaeton Con La Gata. She is a true music maven. She talks all about reggaeton and perreo and the culture and mission and history behind it. So if you're looking for another podcast and you love the Funky Latina podcast, you're going to love this. It is a bilingual podcast, so she has some really cool interviews coming up. I'm very excited to dive into that. And I love seeing my fellow women queens taking over the music industry. So shout out to her for that. Super excited. Next on the list, oh my gosh, I guess the reinas are just taking over my report today, but it was just announced that Becky G will debut her documentary, Rebecca, at Tribeca Film Festival. So I think it's really interesting because she's only like 26 years old, yet she has a documentary about her. I mean, she has been in the game since she was 12 and singing in the shower. So I think it's going to be really interesting to, I think pull back the makeup and the fame and all the music because she doesn't talk a lot about like her personal life. We don't get to see that all the time. And so I think this documentary is going to reveal who Rebecca really is in her documentary. So that will be premiering at the Tribeca Film Festival. Okay, this news is for my fashion girlies. If you're like me and you watched Clueless growing up, you're going to be excited because Clueless is becoming a TV show. So Alicia Silverstone is attached to that. And I think it's been like 30 years since the movie actually premiered. Don't come for me. I'm still excited about it. And yeah, just really excited because this movie like really inspired me as far as like fashion and even music and pop culture. And I think that movie like has stood the test of time. And if you watched it today, it would still be super relevant. I can't wait to check it out. I'm super excited. So wait on those details to see Clueless coming to a TV near you very soon. Finally, last thing I want to talk about before we wrap up, I spent the weekend checking out the movie Sinners, and it was so good. I mean, what's better than one Michael B. Jordan? Two Michael B. Jordans. And there were two Michael B. Jordans, in the movie. Not going to give you any spoilers, but I will tell you this, that throughout the movie, there was this theme of music and the historical relevance that music plays in our lives and throughout different cultures, and how music can be very healing, and how music is tied to connection, and how music isn't always happy, that sometimes there's a dark side of music too, and there's a price to pay for fame. And so that was really interesting. I think I'm going to do a deeper dive on my TikTok because I really enjoyed the movie. I think overall it was just beautifully shot, incredibly casted, and it just made me really inspired as a creative. So if you're in a creative rut, I really suggest go check out Sinners, because I left feeling inspired and motivated and wanting to work harder because it was such a beautiful movie. And yeah, like it honestly it makes me want to like try to direct my own music videos. So stay tuned for that. Maybe my directorial debut will be coming soon. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Funky Latina Report. We'll be back with a very special interview. I'm so excited to interview Ximena Sariñana coming up. Press play and let's get into it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Funky Latina podcast. I'm super excited. I have a very special guest today, and I'm so excited to interview her. Please give a warm welcome to Ximena Sariñana. Thank you
There
so
you
much for
go.
being with us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Really happy to be talking to you and really excited, to return to Phoenix. So, yeah, I'm just very, very happy with this tour.
Amazing. So, I've dug into your discography. I'm a fan, but for anybody who maybe is a new fan or new to you and your music, can you just, introduce yourself and then also tell us what kind of music, or how would you describe the music that you make?
Well, I guess my music would be an alternative pop. Um, and I mean, I feel that just describes it better, even though I've tried with so many different genres. I mean, there's definitely a lot of jazz in there, a lot of electronic music, also a little bit of rock, grunge. I think it really it's just a mixture of all the things that I've listened to in the course of my life and my career. But I think definitely my ear is very tends to go towards the alternative side of things, and but I'm also, great fan of pop music.
Yeah, and I think definitely if you go through your discography, you hear a little bit of all of that throughout your music. And so it's really great to hear. And, in addition to being a singer, a songwriter, you're also an actress. And I know you grew up with artistic parents. How do you think that like shaped you or influenced you to pursue the arts?
Well, I think it definitely helped that both my parents are artists and they know what it's like to dedicate your life to pursuing passion and art. And so they were very supportive from the get-go. They also, I was exposed to a lot of art growing up. They took me to concerts and to see live performances of different things from opera to ballet to just
Nice.
regular concerts. And I think that's where my love for performing came. And yeah, I mean, and they've been just very supportive throughout the entire process. And I can talk to them a lot about things that you're faced as an artist, as in terms of writing music or writing something and then putting it out into the world and then having people make it their own for the in the best sense of the situation and also in the worst case scenario, right?
Definitely.
So I think they've just been really really cool about that, and just a great support, great network to have.
That's awesome. I love that. I think it's really helpful, when someone who's kind of done that career, specifically if it's your parents or like any member of your family, they kind of give you a footstep to follow. But then also it helps you kind of grow your love for something to have that support. So I think that's really cool. And one thing you mentioned was, going to concerts and seeing other people perform and that having an influence. I'd love to know, because I know you're from Mexico City and I haven't had the privilege yet to go to a show pretty much outside of the US, but how would you compare like performing there and performing here? And what are some things that you love about that?
Well, we're very spoiled in Mexico just because the crowds are the best, to be honest. They're just very enthusiastic. They know all the songs. They're just really,
Mhm,
really good fans. So when you travel outside of Mexico, you kind of expecting the same crowds, and it's never really the same. But I have to say that, here in the US, there are just so many people from Latin America that, they kind of have almost that same energy.
mhm,
And what's really nice also about performing here is that people are they come to your shows looking to connect to their roots or to connect
mhm,
to their hometowns. They're just really excited to hear you sing Spanish and a lot of people know me from growing up watching me in telenovelas or have followed my career, since the very, very beginning
mhm.
of me releasing music. So it just feels very familiar when I come to shows here. Also, the venues are smaller, and that's really fun to perform those size venues because you really get intimate with people
Yeah.
and you see their faces. You can recognize people from other shows, and it just feels a lot more personal, and I get to share a little bit more about the story of the songs and just my experience in general.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's I need Mexico City is the next is on my list to go see some live music for sure. And I'm a pretty avid concert goer, but I like what you said about how, no matter what where you are, whether in Mexico or the US, like people that come to shows, like they're coming for that connection, they're coming to experience that live music. And I saw a performance recently well, it wasn't super recent, but I think it was for Pastel magazine, and it was like one of my favorite performances because it was like you said, it was very intimate. You were also doing like an interview in between songs, and like I don't know, even watching it through YouTube, I could feel the energy, and so I think that's something that is really cool and unique about like your performances, but just also being able to experience music in those kind of settings for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I try to be very honest about who I am and what I like and my relationship with music and my songs. And I get just very personal when I write music, and it's all about me and all about things that have gone through my head and or my
Mhm.
past experiences. So I really thrive, I think, in those formats.
I love that. That's awesome. So, like I said, you have a large discography and you've toured, like Japan and Europe, but are there any stages? I know you're going to play Crescent, a ballroom on Sunday in Phoenix, Arizona, but besides that, are there any stages that you're like, dang, I really want to play that stage, or I really want to like be a part of that festival?
Well, I'm really just open to anything. Obviously, there's amazing venues like Madison Square Garden that, every artist feels like it could be a beautiful place to perform. I've
Mhm.
performed in one of my favorite places in the world, which is Vive Latino, which is a festival
Okay.
in Mexico City, and I performed at Auditorio Nacional, which is also a venue where I saw my favorite artists time and time again when they went to Mexico. And, those were huge landmarks for me in my
Mhm.
career. And, they're just great venues in my hometown. So those always, hit differently when you reach those landmarks. But I'm really just happy to showcase my music anywhere and wherever. And sometimes the shows that you least expect are the most memorable, and it just really that's sort of the magic of live music, that you never really know what you're going to get in terms of audience, and
Mhm.
you don't know how you're going to feel, if you're going to be in the mood for something, if you're going to be in a more like energetic mood, if you're going to be in a more confessional sort of tone, if maybe you're not in the mood for anything at all, but you
Yeah.
just, you kind of let the magic of the moment surprise you, which is really cool.
Yeah, and I think that's what's really special about like going to see live music and supporting live music is that like you don't know what's going to happen. Sometimes artists will bring special guests out, or sometimes you get pulled up on stage, and so I think it's really cool to make those musical memories together, because then, years later down the road, you're like, that one song plays and it reminds you of that moment you shared with a friend or a loved one at a concert. And so I think music is like super powerful in connecting people for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. It's definitely something that I'm really happy to be able to do throughout my career and in this tour especially.
I want to talk a little bit more about your music and your style, and I'd love to know, are there any like top three songs, or even if you want to just select two? I know it's hard, but like that you're like, every show I have to perform this song, or is there any special songs that you're excited to perform on this upcoming tour?
Well, for us artists, obviously, it's always the last songs that you've written that you want to perform because you want to see how people react to them live before they have time to really set and find their own audience. And with Rompe, which is the new EP that is coming out on the 24th of April, I'm just really excited to play those songs live and see what people think about. And it's also just such a nice sort of diary entry that people get to read, and there's always that a sort of nervousness of putting that out and singing that out and being like so open about something so private, that you explored in those songs in particular. And it's just fun to see. You just feel that you're telling more, you're telling people more about who you are and where you are right now. So that's
Yeah, you get to let people in, like you said, like it's a journal or a diary entry. You're letting people in your experience. And like, I think that, I mean, I don't sing or perform, but I think like, artistry and just being artistic is like so personal. And it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm putting this out into the world for the first time. And so that's really exciting that Phoenix gets to hear the album or the EP like live before a lot of people, because that'll be like two tour stops after it comes out. So that's like super exciting.
correct. Yes, it's really, really, I'm just really excited.
And we kind of already touched on this, but what can fans expect to see from you? Because you'll be performing Sunday at Crescent Ballroom, April 27th. Tickets are on sale now, guys. So if you haven't, make sure you get them. But what can, new fans expect, especially if they haven't seen you perform before?
Well, I feel it's a very energetic show because it's very rare that we as artists from different countries are able to bring our entire band to tour with us, because
Yeah.
sometimes it's just really expensive and just the numbers, we cannot make the numbers work, or people are just very busy. There's a lot of visas that you have to get issued and a lot of scheduling that has to happen. And
Mhm.
fortunately enough for us, we're able to bring the entire band, and that's just really special to me because you get to really see these amazing artists perform on stage. And we've been playing for a long time together. They're basically part of my family, and it's just a really, really good live band show that I'm just so excited that people get to see that at last here in the States.
That's so cool that you get to have your band perform with you, because I don't think there's anything else that can bring the music to life like that, and like to be able to experience it. I went to a show recently, and it was like a 9-piece ska band, and I was like, "Oh my god, I haven't seen a brass section on a stage in like ever, I don't think." And so I'm so excited for like not just myself, but for the Phoenix music community to get to experience that live, because
Yeah,
it takes so much to put it together.
definitely. It's a very beautiful experience to have live musicians and having them interpret your music and perform, and they just each bring their souls and energy to the stage. And that magic that happens, it really only happens when you have other people on stage. So it's just very exciting.
That's cool. No, I'm super excited. I'm excited for Phoenix to come out and to show so much love at Crescent Ballroom on April 27th. It's going to be, I'm excited. Don't get me wrong. I was excited before chatting with you, but now, like, hearing all this, I feel like I'm getting a sneak peek at your performance.
Mhm.
So I think it's going to be super fun, a super fun show.
It is. It's been super fun. We had our first one in San Francisco, and it was such a beautiful, um, full circle feeling because my very one of the first tours that I did in the U.S. When I first started touring was
Hmm.
opening for an artist named Donovan Frankenreiter, and we
Okay.
went to the Independent in San Francisco, and that was 15 years ago. And I opened for him, and it was just me and my piano, and only doing a 35-minute set just on my own without any musicians or anything and having to sell my own merch and everything. And then going back to the Independent as a headliner with my full band, it just felt so cool to be there and be like, wow, I'm finally doing a tour of this magnitude on my
Yeah.
own with all my musicians, the way that I've always dreamt in a tour bus, like you see in the movies and you listen to
Yeah.
all the stories. It's just very exciting.
No, that's exciting, and you should be very proud because it's I think it's very challenging to even think about being a part of the music industry, and you've had not just in the music industry but in the entertainment industry, you've had a long-standing career. So, do you have any like advice or recommendations for like fellow Latinas who are interested in any part of the music industry? Like, how can we get in, and how can we have a longevity in these careers?
I mean, I think the most important thing is to always just keep growing and keep preparing yourself more and more. You have to always strive for excellence in your craft. I
Hmm.
really think that, this is such a slow um career. I mean, that's how I feel that long careers should be. It's like you're
Yeah.
slowly ascending and you're slowly growing and you're always striving to be better and to learn more and write better songs, and you have to never lose that, well, yeah, that wanting of getting better, because the better that you are at something, the more people are going to recognize you. And if you work at something long enough, people are going to start noticing and are going to start looking to see and who you are, and you should never compromise who you really are and who you want to be. And you should always just be yourself and stay true to what you feel your sound should be, and just really work for it and on it, um over and over and over every single day, never stopping and always keeping what's important, which is
Hmm.
your music and getting better at it, and your artistry, like what you want to say with your
Hmm.
music, keeping it center stage, because that's really what matters the most.
I love that. I mean, I think that's something you can't ever stop hearing is like being true to yourself and true to your sound. Like, that is so important. But I also really love what you said about almost being patient. Like, I think in today's world with social media, we want that instant gratification. But I think people forget that like it takes 10 years sometimes to be an overnight success. So I like what you
There's a
said.
huge difference between scrolling, because one, when you're consuming content, you sort of forget that all these people that are creating content are working
Yes.
constantly, making that content and making content, anything, whether it's a song, whether it's a video, whether it's a piece of art. It takes time. It takes time and it takes energy and it takes effort, and
Yes.
you have to do it. That's the thing with it. You just have to go and do it. It's not enough just talking about it. It's not enough dreaming about it. It's not enough listening to a lot of music. You just have to really just take the time to do it, and it's going to take time.
Yes, absolutely. So, whoever's listening right now, this is your sign. Whatever you were thinking about, take time out of your day today or tonight and do it, because sometimes I think that first step is the hardest. And, like, honestly, just listening to you is inspiring me. Like, I'm thinking in the back of my head of things I need to work on and how I want to get better. So, I really appreciate you saying those things.
Thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad that that resonates in some way.
Yeah, definitely. So I have a couple more questions before we wrap up. But one question I love to ask all of my guests is, what was the first concert you went to?
Man, that's hard. I mean, I think the first concert that I went to by my own will, I guess, was Michael Jackson's 1994 tour. He was touring Dangerous, I believe, in El Estadio Azteca in Mexico.
Mhm.
That was probably one of the first concerts. But before that, my parents
Wow.
had taken me to see Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd,
Wow. Oh my
Paul
gosh.
Simon. They were just such huge music fans. So I'd been to a lot of concerts, but I think that definitely Michael Jackson was the first one that I begged my mom to take me to.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's iconic. Interview's over. Drop the mic. Like, I think that is so amazing that that's like to see a legend perform live,
Yeah.
that is so incredible.
No, it was amazing.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh. I'm like, I don't know what else to say. Like, I'm stunned after hearing that. Like, I can't believe like that's so, and I think that's really cool because I mean, I don't think that Michael Jackson is necessarily the same genre as you, but I could see the different, I can see the love for like the art, like we briefly talked about. Like he's somebody who works really hard at his craft, and it shows, especially if you
Yeah.
got to see him live. So that is so cool that you got to see such an incredible artist live.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So I know we talked briefly about the EP that's coming out, but do you want to tell us anything else about that? What we can expect? And then also, like, before we wrap up, how can we follow you and stay connected?
Sure. Well, Rompe is the second EP out of a trilogy of EPs that I'm releasing in this new musical era, I guess.
Mhm.
And the first one was Ojos Diamante, which came out last year. And Ojos Diamante is sort of everything that happens underneath before something is released or something is, something changes or something major happens. And it's sort of like the feelings before that. And Rompe is that moment of change. It's that moment of explosion, that moment of chaos, destruction, creation as well,
Yeah.
and sort of being in the thick of it, in the middle
Okay.
of something like that. So it's very explosive, it's very honest, it's very confessional, it's very filled with a lot of aha moments for me, a lot of self reflection, a lot of realization of who I am and who I've always been. And sometimes you forget it because you're, in the middle of it, I guess. And yeah, and you sometimes you need a spark, you need an explosion, you need something that is like completely just, breaking with everything that you were in order to remember who you are. And I think that's is inspired by.
Wow, that is so beautiful. I think that's so cool how people like creative people can come up with these, and maybe you're not like, I don't know, laying in bed thinking I'm gonna write 3 albums, but just how you're able to bring these, three pieces of artwork to life. So I'm super excited for that. I can't wait to listen. And in addition to that, can you tell us how can we follow you? How can we stay connected with everything you have going on?
Sure. I mean, I'm in all social platforms. You can find me as @Ximena Music in most of them. You find me in any social platform, and that's where I'm usually just getting people up to date with where I am and what I'm doing.
Amazing. Well, stay tuned, guys, because if you enjoyed this interview, you will have a chance to win tickets to see Ximena Sariñana live on Sunday, April 27th at Crescent Ballroom. So make sure you're following us on our socials, and we'll give you all the details on how to not just win tickets, but you might also get a special chance to come up on stage, and maybe we'll throw in a meet and greet in there. And I'm just super excited for Sunday. So make sure you're following us on our social channels. I'll be sure to put them right here so you can see them. And thank you so much for hanging out with me this evening. I really enjoyed chatting with you.
Thank you so much. It's been amazing. Thank you.
Yes, so we'll have a good night and I'll see you on Sunday. Thank you so
See you
much.
on Sunday.
Take care. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed my interview with Ximena Sariñana. If you did, you can catch her performance on Sunday, April 27th at Crescent Ballroom. Tickets are on sale now. So that's it. Lookout weekend. I want to see all of you Sunday, April 27th at Crescent Ballroom for Ximena Sariñana's performance. If you haven't got your tickets, you still have a chance to win them. Head to my Instagram for the full giveaway details and some extra special prizes. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a beautiful weekend. Sending you paz, love, and funk.